everybody? Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Tap the bell for notifications. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share this video with your friends. We're always trying to grow the Fumble fam. Here is the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris?
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K. Gary threw me off a little bit, man. I saw what he said in the chat. We'll get to that in a second.
See, now I got me looking at the chat. But what's up, everybody? It's your girl Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at J Ray the Fanatic.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson. Jackie, what day is it?
Is it Taco Tuesday?
Don't let it Tuesday. You almost forgot.
I did. I was like, what day is it? It's starting to all run together. I look like Chris on the day. Wait, what day? What day?
What? We're on a show right
now? All right, you guys, before we jump into the news, I want to let you all know that on Thursday we have a special live show with Chris and Jackie happening at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you tune in. It's all about the NBA restart, so you're going to get everything that you need to know about the upcoming games. So make sure you tune in 2 Pacific Standard Time. Mark it on your calendars. Make a reminder for yourself in your phone. I know you guys all want to be there. Chris and Jackie are going to be walking you through everything. All right. Now that you all know that that's, and I'm sure you've all put it into your calendars and into your schedules, let's talk about our first news story. So Kendrick Perkins decided to take shots at Lou Williams on Get Up yesterday. His main issue was the fact that he thinks Lou Will should have known better than to stop at a strip joint in the middle of a pandemic. I have a clip that Leo is going to throw up for you guys right now so you guys can see what he said. So Leo, whenever you're ready, let's get that clip going.
You got to do a better job. And it's crazy, Greenie, because here it is. Lou Will's a 16-year vet. He knows better. He should know how to be more mature. You got a guy that's a rookie in Zion Williamson who left for a family issue, and he handled it way better than Lou. We didn't hear a word. He went down, took care of his business with his family. Now he's back to the bubble. And on another note, it just adds another distraction.
So here's the thing. I find a lot of the times I think Perk likes to stir the pot. He likes to create drama where there really doesn't need to be any drama, and I find it kind of annoying. But this time, I actually don't think he's really that wrong. As we all know, Lou was released from the bubble after a family member passed away. And like Jackie was saying yesterday, I really sympathize with the fact that after an emotional event like that, you need something that's comforting and familiar. And maybe for Lou, that was picking up his favorite food in Atlanta, and I totally get that. But at the same time, I feel like he knows what position he's in. He knows that people are going to see him. They're going to talk about it. And I feel like going to a strip club was probably not the best look. I think he could have postmated it or maybe had a friend or a family member pick it up for him. So in this situation, I kind of actually do see what Perk is saying. I think he makes a good point. But Lou did not like that he was getting dragged. So he tweeted, 15 years in the business, and the most dirt that you have on my name is stopping to get hot wings during a pandemic. Perk, shut up and stop laughing and saying it's just TV when you run into me too. He followed that up by writing, but I digress. I went home to see a man off to his final resting place that was a giant in my life. I don't want that to get lost in all this attention. Again, long live the great Paul Williams Sr. Back to my quarantine so I can join the guys soon. Peace. And then Montrezl Harrell supported his teammate, writing, Big Perk, what you're not going to do is talk wild to the OG when you don't got all the facts. Because he's not backing down, he tweeted back at the both of them. He told Lou to stay in his lane, and then he tweeted, I said what I said, homie, to Montrez. So, Jackie, I want to go to you first. Was Kendrick wrong for calling Lou Will out?
I mean, I'm just not on team calling anyone out when they're dealing with something with what Lou is dealing with. I'm just not on that team. I think that's so disrespectful. Don't come for me. How I deal with my grief is my business. Now, I get that the optics look a certain way, and I get the position that I'm in, that I have a position. you can say what you want to say. But at the end of the day, I've been there. I've been exactly where Lou Williams is, and I'll be damned if you're going to tell me how I'm going to deal with it. If I want to go to a nightclub, if I want to go have a drink with my girls, if I want to go sit in a movie by myself and cry, whatever I need to do to feel better is what I'm going to do. And I think that Kendrick, there's no way I would believe that at this point in Kendrick's life, he's never had to deal with something, and maybe he didn't deal with it exactly the way that people wanted him to deal with. People grieve differently. And I think to have to take this moment to go onto a public platform and say, oh, this 18-year-old handled it better. You don't know how he handled it because you wasn't sitting right there with him. And however he handled it is his business. I think this is mad disrespectful. I'm not a fan. I told you guys that yesterday. I'm not going to be a fan of anyone who tells anyone how to grieve because it's very difficult.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Britt, I know we talked about this on Britt's takes yesterday. So do you feel that Perk's coming down too hard on him?
Yeah, I mean, Jackie just took all the words out of my mouth. The part that really got me was him comparing him to somebody else. Like, you cannot compare grief. You can't compare how people react to stuff. And like, yes, we could say that bad. Maybe he probably shouldn't have took the picture because he did kind of like be in the picture, whatever. But like, it is what it is. Everybody moves on. Clippers, nobody on the Clippers had a problem with it. Nobody in the coaching staff had a problem with it. Lou's back, quarantining, minding his. So I think Perk even just continuing to try to bring it up and say, oh, you did this and you did that. Just like, let it go. Like, whatever happened, everybody kind of, obviously the way the pictures were posted on social media, like Jackie said yesterday, like with that picture coming up first and then Lou posting about it after, the order of it was like throwing everybody off. So at the beginning, everyone was like, what? He's at a strip club or whatever. But then when you look back at like, oh, well, he actually went there after he went to go see a viewing of somebody and he just picked up some wings and whatever the case is and just let it go. Yeah. Like, get over it. It happened 4 days ago now.
Yeah, it did happen several days ago. I guess count on Perk to talk about it again. Chris, do you think Lou Will is not helping his case by getting so defensive, or do you understand why he's tweeting back and kind of getting involved in the drama?
Oh, I had no problem with how Lou responded to it. I think Lou said said his piece in a real quick tweet. It wasn't even that big. I don't even think it was really a big, he wasn't really that defensive in his tweet because, like he said, he brought the attention back to what was important to him. And I thought he did a great job with it. So I had no problem with his response. Like, you calling him out on dealing with the situation as serious as it was, the way he wanted to deal with it. So, yeah, I think he had every right to say what he said. And I don't even think he really said it that poorly at all. He called him out, called Perk right back out the way he did, and then brought the attention back to what was important and moved on. And I think that I honestly had no problem with Lou on this one. The only person I had a problem with calling anybody out, like Britt and like Jackie said, was really Perkins because it was just left field and it wasn't necessary.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there, and also there was a helicopter that was really close sounding to my apartment. But I'm going to move on to the next story. The NFL is planning on including the messages, "It takes all of us," and "End racism" they're going to stencil it into the end zone borders during week 1. A memo issued by the league said that the idea behind the messages is to show, quote, "how football and the NFL brings people together to work as one and use our example and our actions to help conquer racism." And then also, we've talked about this before, each player will have the option to show the name of a victim of police brutality on their helmet. Now, I used to appreciate all signs, all shows of support, but I'm feeling frustrated by the NFL, and maybe you guys agree, because I feel like they're not really taking this action that they say they are. So, Chris, do you feel this is another empty gesture from the NFL?
Oh boy. I'm trying not to say it's another empty gesture. I think it is an attempt. I'll give him that. I don't want to say it's empty. But then I do feel like I don't know, man. It's an attempt by the NFL, and you know what? I want them to continue to make the attempts. It's just I hate the circumstance to get to the point where they make these attempts, and it never feels like it's them coming out and doing this on their own rather than something else having to happen for them to then react to it. So it feels more like a reaction once again, and it is an attempt, and they're trying to do something with it. So I want to give them some kind of credit, but at the same time, I'm not gonna pass somebody on the back for doing something that they should be doing. I don't know. I'm having such a hard time right now with the NFL as of late to try to give them any credit on anything, and this one was another one to me. I was just like, all right, cool. Let's see how this one goes.
Right. Jackie, do you think that this is having these phrases stenciled into the end zone, is this really going to do anything to help the situation?
I don't know. To
Exactly,
me, this
right?
still feels like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. The fan base of the NFL kind of has already shown who they are. So I think these stencils are just going to piss them off. And then now we're going to entertain a whole bunch of moronic conversations and statements. And if you don't like it, go back to, all this nonsense. To me, it still feels like a man beating the hell out of you and then coming home with flowers. Like, it just doesn't mean anything. Your behavior hasn't changed. There's nothing about the NFL at its core that has changed. It's just a bunch of, fragrance in a smelly room to me right now. So I don't know. I don't want to, I get it. I get that you don't want to say, Britt says it all the time that she believes that people can change. I believe people can mask. And I think the NFL is masking right now. I don't think they've actually changed at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Britt, then I want to ask you, do you think that NFL athletes are satisfied by these types of, shows of support, or do you think they should be speaking up more about what they'd actually like to see happen like they did earlier last month?
I mean, I'm not an NFL player, so I can't speak for them. I think that last year we celebrated 100 years of the NFL. It was their 100th season, and we have a lot of stuff that literally the NFL now is trying to react to, a lot of bad things that have happened over the 100 years that the NFL was around, and it's not going to happen overnight. I think any little step forward is moving farther away from the past. So I think that anything that they do is a good sign. It is moving the chain forward, even if it is way slower than a lot of us want it to be, whether it's a lot of us want things to change overnight in the NFL just to be this league that has, 50% of their coaches Black and ownership in with teams or whatever. And, we're obviously just recently getting rid of a racist name of a team that has been around for 70 plus years, 60 plus years or whatever. So there's so many things that we're going through in this moment, but it is moving. It might be slower than people want it to be, but as long as it's moving forward, I'm okay with it. We don't get mad at the NFL for just in October doing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We don't get mad at the NFL for in November doing a troops thing. So why are we just going to, they're not doing enough here. Like, why don't they do everything the whole season, or why don't they whatever? Any step forward, any money, anything that they can do to help is better than doing nothing. And I'm not going to bash them for not doing anything, but I'm also not patting them on the back because, yes, there is a lot more that needs to be done. But any step forward is a good step to me.
Mm-hmm. Progress over perfection.
The troops thing is something that they are literally have been paid for. The reason why we even sing the national anthem in front of games anyway is because they wanted to help the military boost recruitment. That's something that they're paid for. So I can't give them credit for that. To me, it's just difficult to take any of this with any ounce of sincerity when the one person who tried to raise awareness about this whole thing that everyone's on this kick about now can't even get I'm sorry. I don't know. The whole thing seems fake to me, but I get it. It still feels like, bringing home flowers and, I still got bruises on my face. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll just have to see what kind of action the NFL takes in the future. Hopefully they start taking a more, a stronger stance. They start, doing things that really speak loudly. But until then, I guess we'll get, stencils in the end zone or whatever. And maybe that's going to be the thing that kind of moves things along. But anyway, you guys, that wraps up Need to Know News. So Chris, it's on to you.
Ooh, it's time for Post Up with your boy Chris, Quarantine Edition. We are starting off with, in the eyes of many, maybe not Jackie Ray, but we are starting off with the GOAT Michael Jordan. Now, we have a Michael Jordan sighting, and it seems like it is coming from the Bahamas, and he is out there. So, I just saw the thing at the bottom. It just made me laugh. But anyways, yeah, MJ was out there letting the people know that no matter how old he is, you still better know who the hell he is. Okay. Now he just went up there to pull up and play some pickup with people who were in the area playing around. And after just MJ being MJ, he then piled on being MJ with being even more MJ with some trash talk. It all makes sense. Watch the video. Here's MJ being MJ. Look at the fade. Watch the fade. Still got it. Wop. This is right here. I'm sorry. I love that. I love it. I love the trash talk. We were talking about, some LeBron trash talk and whatnot yesterday. But come on, man. MJ is. I'm not gonna sit here and have this conversation because I know we'll be here for the rest of the hour, if not for the rest of the week. But I'm just gonna say I love MJ. It doesn't matter how old he is. He gonna be, even if he has to be in a wheelchair, he gonna be in a wheelchair, still crossing you over, hitting the fadeaway in a wheelchair, and still talking all the junk on whoever it may be. And he telling the kids to YouTube him, even though he got a whole docuseries that just came out. I love it, man. MJ just being MJ. I thought it was great. So I got no questions for that. I just think MJ is great, and I'm glad that this video came up. I want more. Moving on from Michael Jordan to Klay Thompson. Now we got not all, but we have 22 teams in the bubble getting ready for the 8-game seeding period and then the playoffs. And we got one player who is on a team that is not in the bubble, and that is Klay Thompson. And, that's no shade because Klay Thompson, is just getting a break. They'll probably be back at it again next year. So, in the meantime, while he is out there enjoying himself and actually enjoying his summer, he is spending time with his one and only homie, Rocco, and he is out there playing chess against Rocco. I want you guys to see this picture because Rocco's face is my favorite part of this entire thing. He's playing chess, and yeah, you can joke because it's, playing chess with a doll, blah, blah, blah. I just love Rocco's face because regardless if he's actually playing or not, his face is showing me that he is intensely in this game and he is ready to go. He don't even want the picture. He like, hey, make your move, bro. Come on. I don't want no picture right now. I'm ready. We're trying to get this work right now. So I thought this was great. Klay added the caption, I always open with the Queen's Gambit versus Rocco, and with the little chess piece on there. I thought this was great. I just saw this picture on my timeline. I was just like, I didn't even need to ask who it was because I knew it was Rocco because you see Rocco on Klay's social media all the time. So this was great. Klay Thompson providing the greatness on social media. But moving on, Candace Parker is out here teaching her daughter some lessons after practice in the bubble with the LA Sparks. And I gotta say, man, like I understand, that she had, got a daddy, Sheldon Williams, that was in the NBA. His mom is probably arguably one of the greatest players to play in the WNBA. So, I shouldn't be too surprised. But let me tell you something. Homegirl, she picked up the drill real quick, and then she mastered it all in this one clip, and it was really dope to see. So here's Candace Parker being a damn good coach as well with her with little girl.
All right, we got it, Jared.
Watch it. She didn't want to do. I know that walk. I'm just like, oh, okay. Watch how fast she is. This girl is crazy.
Hey! All right, a little quicker. That was good right there.
Got it now. You got it now. I'm out. Look at it. Jab step. Watch it. Easy. I'm tricking you, mom. Easy. Light work. Give me something difficult. That's what she said. Yeah, she said light work. I love how she went through it like, oh, so you want me to jab step? Okay, and then I got to dribble that. And then the second time she said, psych, jab, pop, pop, pop. I thought it was great. So shout out to Candace being coach right there. Little girl killing that one right there. Go ahead, Brett.
Because to point out, you guys, this is in the bubble. So Candace Parker, one of her part of her negotiation for being in the bubble was her daughter had to come with her. So I think that's dope that they allowed her daughter to be in the bubble with her so they could have moments like this. But she was like, if you guys want me in the bubble, my daughter has to come in. And she has to be there from day one, and she's been there since then. So I think that's really cool to see.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's such a great opportunity for her to obviously being with mom, obviously, but then also still being around the players and stuff like that. And maybe basketball is in her future as well, so she's getting to be a part of this whole historical moment. Yeah, it's a overall dope thing for her, and I think that's awesome. But yeah, I just love how quick she caught on that drill. Let me tell you, that's great. So shout out to her. That's dope. This one's funny. I hope, mom, if you're watching this right now, can you pause and turn off, because I don't want you seeing this and then thinking that like, why can't my son do this? But speaking of in the bubble, John Morant, like I said, is in the bubble with his team ready to go after a playoff spot. But while he's in the bubble, he still made sure that he got his mama the brand new car that she has been hoping and wanting for quite some time, and her reaction is amazing. I think it was hilarious. It was great. But like I said, mom, just pause and then skip through this. All right. Okay. I ain't got John Morant money. But anyways, here's this video.
Look at Carter. Look at Carter.
She's son had to back up. She's had comedy, son. I love that. That was a great reaction. Shout out to Ja again, mama, the brand new whip. That was awesome. Her reaction though just made that whole entire thing. That was awesome. So shout out to them. Moving on. Rudy Gobert. No, I ain't got nothing bad for Rudy. Didn't do anything wrong. In fact, Rudy Gobert was doing everything right. It was his teammates that were the hoodlums in this situation, because he's just out here trying to sit down and have himself a nice and calm Zoom meeting, interview, whatever you want to call it. But here comes Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles coming in to mess up the whole thing, and it's pretty funny. And shout out to Rudy Gobert, who's like, you ain't gonna get me again. He just sat there and let them be wild and let them be crazy, and he did not move, budge, or entertain them at all. So here's this video of the recklessness going on with the Jazz. Look at Rudy. He's trying to stay good. He's like, no. Nope. I'm not looking. His leg shaking. Look.
What did you see?
Poor Rudy.
But he's you know what Rudy reminds me of? Rudy reminds me of that sibling that, when you just got whooped by your parents and you just got in so much trouble, and then now your two other your brothers coming in and they're acting the fool, and you know that what you just got in trouble for, if your mama catch you acting up any kind of way after you just got whooped, you're gonna get in trouble again. So he just kept looking straight, and you can see he was trying to fight it. His leg was shaking and whatnot while these two coming in. I thought that was just so funny, especially with all the ridicule that Rudy Gobert got a few months ago. It's just like Rudy's like, you ain't gonna get me again. But I thought that was funny. It's just dope. I love all these moments that are happening inside the bubble with these teams and whatnot, because obviously, like we've talked about with LeBron James, they're getting closer because they ain't got nobody else besides their teammates, and I feel like that's great for the chemistry. Also could be great for some canoodling and seeing some super teams in future dates, but we'll see if that happens. But it's just really cool seeing these little moments and stuff like that. But Rudy Gobert, shout out to him, shout out to Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles. Comedy ensued for sure. Speaking of fun moments, I've been trying to tell you guys for weeks now, and now we got other NBA players that are jumping on the bandwagon and doing well with it. But I've been telling you guys to go and check out my new favorite player, Matisse Thybulle's YouTube channel. Now, before I show you this next clip, panel, have you guys watched any video on his YouTube channel yet? Anybody?
That's a no for me.
I watched one.
Britt? I can't with y'all. I'm trying to tell you guys, it is good stuff over there on the YouTube channel. Now we got JaVale McGee. Okay, so for my Laker fans right here in the chat, go watch JaVale McGee's channel. LeBron James made a few appearances. If you guys want to go get your LeBron James fix, it was great. You watched JaVale?
I watched JaVale, but that's just because he's my friend. So I just watch his because.
You also And Danny Green was in the last two, and I know that's your boy too. So there you go. So
Yeah.
there, watch JaVale. Fine, whatever. But Matisse Thybulle, to me, I'm having a good time watching this channel. Whatever. Matisse, just know I'm out here trying to help you out, bro. I'm trying to get you those subs. Whatever. But this next moment came from his actual last vlog. And like I said, he's been hanging out with Tobias Harris a lot. I'm assuming throughout the season, definitely in the bubble. And Tobias Harris was trying to get Matisse in trouble. And it's just funny how you get the full circle of Matisse trying to get Tobias, like, please, no, you're going to get me in trouble. And then Matisse ends up getting in trouble. It all makes sense. Watch this clip here from his latest vlog.
Is it okay if I sneak in here and look? Come back.
This is them getting to see the court for the first time.
I tried to tell him. Tobias, you're gonna get us in trouble. You're breaking the protocol. So are we gonna be screaming at these people when we get a dunk? So we're gonna
have to have a conversation.
It's not my fault.
We have to have a conversation. It's not my fault. I'm telling you, the vlogs are great. Look, I'm done. I'm done promoting this guy. Matisse, I got you. They're funny, but yeah, it's just I love seeing more of, like I said, the personalities of the players. And seeing them come out with these vlogs. We're seeing Troy Daniels got a vlog now too. The NBA got a whole series that they're coming out called I don't know, something about being in the bubble or something like that, where you're seeing them, the Bucks, all these teams and everything are taking advantage of this, and they're getting their inside look of what's going on inside of the bubble. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, I want all the NBA content I can get because I missed basketball for so long. So even if I'm having to watch players on teams that I don't care about, watching their vlog channels and it's entertaining, then I guess there's that. But also Kyle Quinn's in it, and I talk about all the time. Kyle Quinn got the best beard in the game. Anytime I get a moment to say that, I'm gonna say it. Moving on to LeBron James. Oh my gosh! So I actually watched this game because I heard J.R. Smith was going to be playing a lot of minutes, and that he did, leading the Lakers in points, and it was a great time to watch. Now, I could care less about the Lakers stuff, but seeing my man Earl out there playing his game and shooting the way he was shooting, it was nice to watch. But the moment that stole the show was old man LeBron James, who was not playing in this game, but he definitely was ready to go at any moment for anything that could happen. And when a loose ball went towards the bench, LeBron James made sure that he would put his body on the line to get that loose ball. Here's the video.
Watch LeBron's play.
Look at LeBron.
Don't hurt yourself, RBJ. Don't even have
No shoes on.
Having some fun.
Dogs
That's why
flying.
you stay young, Billy Mack. You got to keep the young, playful attitude like that in life, and you stay young forever.
Boy, he has been
Looking stupid, having a good time with that. Just glad he's healthy. All right, so he's good. Sorry, Britain, other Clipper fans, other little Bucks fans, stuff like that. He's all right, okay. He hurt himself trying to act the fool and get the ball there. But it was just, I'm just loving this. I'm loving seeing these moments. I think it's dope. But LeBron James being LeBron James and cracking everybody up. Now, last but not least, that was all the fun ha he-he's. We got a scandal. And I've been looking on Twitter, and I don't understand why nobody's talking about this. Like I've mentioned, I on my social medias, I talk about the Knicks a lot. So therefore, I have a lot of people in the New York area that support the Giants and all these other New York-based teams that follow my social media, or I follow them back. But I have not seen anybody talking about this, and I have questions because apparently a video has been leaked of somebody in the Yankees staff cheating in the 2018 playoffs. Okay, now, Brett, I'm gonna come to you in a little bit. Yes, here's this video of this man who was filming the catcher and filming the signs of the catcher of the opposing team. Now, here's what he tries to claim that it's a still picture. It's not doing anything. It's just there for pictures. Now, you lie. Okay. Now, I don't know the exact name of the camera, but this is a camera that is meant for photography. And if you look closely at this angle, you will see there is a cord connected to the camera. Now, I don't know too much about cameras, but when there's a cord connected to a camera like this, that means you are connecting it to a screen where you are getting a feed from the camera to somewhere else's monitor or something like this. Basically meaning that this is instantly going from your camera to somebody's screen, meaning he is out there getting the signs of the other team, and there has been cheating involved. Now, with all what has been going on with the Astros, we've had all of the articles of Aaron Judge coming like, oh, God, I can't believe that. How could they do that? Oh, and then all the Yankees, blah, 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 blah. But then we're finding out this about what could have possibly it's leaked. And for whatever reason, since I'm not seeing anything else, I don't know if they're trying to hide this. I don't know. But I got to go to my baseball lady somebody on the panel. I need you to talk to me, especially since you are one of the victims of what happened with the Astros, being a Dodgers fan. Now you're seeing this coming out with the Yankees. I need you to talk to me. First of all, have you heard anything about this before I go on? Because I don't know why I'm not finding anything anywhere.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
I knew you did.
Several years ago, we're talking about this, and they said they investigated the Yankees, and there was no issue with this. So then they went on to honestly, the same time the Astros stuff was coming out, was the Yankees stuff coming out too. So all Dodgers fans know this happened. We know what happened the last couple of years with the Dodgers in the World Series and going against these teams and whatever, going up to the World Series. So we know about it.
Then why is it being swept under the rug, Britt Johnson? I don't understand that. Why is that happening? Why?
It's not. It wasn't swept under the rug. It's just once the Astros came out and this was like, oh, this is confirmed that they cheated. People kind of just moved off into like, okay, well, they actually won the World Series. What's going to happen with them or whatever? So I think that's why this happened. And we kind of just like, I mean, the Patriots cheat all the time, and we just forget about it after a little bit of time, because the league doesn't come out and make all these announcements, and then the next season does this and yada, yada. The only reason why cheating is part of baseball, unfortunately. We had the whole steroid era, and then, now with them,
the juice balls.
And like everything like that. So there's so many things that happen in baseball, and I think we just kind of choose our battles. Yankees ended up winning that year, so it doesn't matter really at the end of the day.
And I figured that was probably what the biggest thing was, because like you just said, Astros did win their year, but Yankees did not win in this year. So I feel like that was probably part of the reason why it wasn't talked about. And I think that's what you're saying. But before we end this and move on, I just need you to hear. I know there might not be anything that comes of it, but coming from you, do you believe that something should be done, especially with this video being leaked now, even though it's 2020?
What are they going to do? I mean, the most they did with the Astros was fine them $5 million, and then they got to keep their title anyway. So what are you going to do? Fine the Yankees, the richest team in baseball, like $2 million? That doesn't mean anything to them.
Damn, wow, that's crazy. You see, this man, I do need to get into baseball. I'm out here, listening to people talking about pagan players on the Astros, and and that's okay. And now we got people cheating openly, videos coming out, and things moving on. Man, I need to get into baseball. I need to figure it out because there's a lot of craziness going on. But anyways, all that being said, we had fun here today, but this is it for me on the post up. I'm all done.
I needed to unmute really quickly. All right, Jackie. What we not gonna do? Yeah.
I had to get the in, which is okay. All right, guys. What we not gonna do is get in trouble on our day off, because that's almost a scene from Friday. But that's exactly what happened to Porzingis. Porzingis was off on Saturday. He had to take the mandatory COVID-19 test, and he didn't. And his great, fantastic excuse was, I forgot. He simply forgot to show up. He didn't take his test because he simply didn't remember. I was like, oh, okay, this is cute. This is funny. This is only going to happen to one person. Nope. It also happened to Millsap from the Denver Nuggets. He forgot to take his test. So I don't have a lot on this one. I just wanted to tell that to you guys really quickly, because now they obviously have to quarantine for a couple of days just because they forgot to take a test. So Devin, my question is for you. If the Fumble required us to take a test on a Saturday, which is our day off, and you were busy, or maybe you were getting a good nap in, would you forget, or would you set a damn reminder on your phone and go take the test?
Oh man, I'd like to say that I would be responsible and set a reminder so that I would make sure that I got it done. But knowing me, I let things slip through the cracks a lot of the times when I have a to-do list. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I was the person that missed the test, to be honest.
Now, I've had jobs in the past where I know I probably missed the test, and it'd probably be halfway intentional, because nah, I'm not getting up on my Saturday. No, I'm not going to do it. But for basketball, the game that I love, I would get up. I think.
That's true. This is an important job.
Right. I just thought that was super cute. One of those funny moments in the bubble where people are just forgetting, like they just have an astronomical amount of things to do in the bubble. I thought it was super cute. So let's get into this one, because what we're not going to do is give passes. You guys know I do not do that. I am very old-fashioned. I am officially taking that phrase out of my vocabulary, my sayings, because Mike Ditka has made I'm old-fashioned seem like I'm a racist twat. So he told TMZ, I quote, "If you can't respect our national anthem, get the hell out of the country. That's the way I feel. Of course, I'm old-fashioned, so I'm only going to say what I feel." Well, since we're saying what we feel, Mike Ditka, I think you're a born-again jerk. This is not new news. I know people were all over Twitter dragging him for this, but I feel like if you're dragging him for this, you have not been paying attention to who Mike Ditka is, because in 2016, he said that he had no respect for Colin Kaepernick. And then in 2017, he said that he had not seen any racial oppression in the United States in 100 years. Like, he wasn't even 100 years old then. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, that's a moronic statement, because Mike Ditka is an old school coach. He is a coach at the time when black people weren't really quarterbacks, because the league in its entirety didn't believe that black people were smart enough to be quarterbacks. Same with the GM position and head coaching position. At that time, he doubled down on his saying, and he was like, "Oh, I just meant, I didn't see racism in the NFL, not the world. Yeah, I see racism in the world, but not the NFL." Like I said, that's a moronic thing to say. But he's, like I said, he's getting dragged. Stan Van Gundy, he's the former head coach for the Detroit Pistons. He tweeted, "Ditka and many others say, if you can't respect our national anthem, get the hell out of the country. What should we do with those who can't respect the Constitution, which says we have the right to free speech and freedom of assembly?" And then David Mogetta, I'm so sorry if I'm annihilating your name, but he is the president of Athletes First, which represents Aaron Rodgers, Derwin James, and Earl Thomas, and a lot of others. He says, "This doesn't surprise me at all. Mike Ditka traded in his helmet for a white hood as soon as he retired from football. Racism hiding behind faux patriotism is still racism." I couldn't agree anymore with that statement. I'm really sick and tired of people masking their patriotism as racism is all it really is. It's sad and it's embarrassing. Chris, did you see this statement from Mike Ditka? Were you surprised? As a football fan, I can't see you being surprised by this if you really know who Mike Ditka is, but were you surprised?
No, I honestly didn't see the statement. Also, shout out to Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy, this dude you would never know how old he was when you see him on Twitter, because he be on everybody on Twitter. But no, I'm not surprised. Yeah, Mike Ditka, the little I know, I obviously know who he is and what he's done, and I got that. But as far as like outside of the NFL, once I heard the stories and heard what I heard, not much more I needed to know or wanted to know about Mike Ditka. So no, this didn't surprise me at all. And yeah, I got nothing else to say about that. But again, I just saw Stan Van Gundy, of course, getting into this one too. Stan Van Gundy, that's what he does. So it was funny to see that.
Yeah, and I thought Stan Van Gundy really approached it very like, okay, well, if you want to be a patriotic, what about the Constitution? Explain this to me. I love the way that Stan Van Gundy came at that for sure. So I don't have a lot today, guys. So that's all I have. But before I get out of here, I do want to say thank you guys so much for helping us raise money for the Equal Justice Initiative. We are less than $1,000 away from our goal. That's all thanks to you guys. And again, thank you guys so much. Please do not think any amount is too small, because every little bit helps. So in case you haven't been here for a while, the Fumble Squad is raising money for the Equal Justice Initiative. The Equal Justice Initiative is an incredible nonprofit organization that provides legal representation to prisoners who may have been wrongly convicted of crimes, or poor prisoners without effective representation, and others who may have been denied a fair trial. It's crazy to think that right now someone is sitting in prison for a crime they didn't commit. It happens way too often in our country. And today I want to tell you about Danny Brown. Now, Danny Brown met a woman and the two began dating. They were dating for several months before she was brutally raped and murdered while her two children, a 6-year-old son and her 2-year-old daughter, were in the apartment at the same time. The police found her with an extension cord wrapped around her neck. Now, Brown's conviction was based entirely on the testimony of the 6-year-old boy, the victim's son. He identified Danny as one of 2 men who had been in the apartment sometime throughout the night. The boy stated that he woke up to a loud noise and saw Danny enter the building from a window. After seeing Danny Brown and his mother in a heated argument, he ran upstairs to his room and hid under his bed. He said he fell asleep, and after the predator left, he reported what he had seen to his neighbor the following morning. Later in the investigation, the same 6-year-old son picked out Brown in a lineup, and he became the primary witness of the prosecution. His eyewitness identification convinced the jury to convict Danny Brown, despite concerns raised by the defense about the reliability of the testimony of a traumatized 6-year-old boy, which is true. That's crazy. And there was numerous alibis that placed him at another location. Nevertheless, he was sentenced to life in prison. But finally, DNA testing was done, and they excluded him as a predator. The test also implicated an incarcerated felon named Sherman Preston, who was convicted of a similar killing in 1983. So based on the new DNA evidence, Brown was released in April of 2001. He spent 19 years in prison. And this is why we're taking part in this movement. You can join us in this movement as well. A lot of you have already done so. Please do it. So again, there's a link below to donate. You can also donate via a super chat. Anything you have, it can give, will help us out. If you want to learn more about the Equal Justice Initiative, you can visit their website at eji.org. Go ahead and send a super chat or go to that link and donate. We appreciate every single thing you guys are going to do for us. We thank you for that. So Chris, where are you at right now?
Yes.
I need to see your smiley face. All right. So it is time not that smiley face. A different smile. That was very awkward for me. All right. Because now it's time for Brit's takes.
Brit's takes.
All right, thank you guys. So my story today is going to come off of some information we got over the weekend with baseball. So we know MLS, NBA, WNBA, and NHL are all in some type of bubble right now with their season. MLB is the only current active team that is in a season right now that is not in a bubble. And then obviously the NFL plans to not be in a bubble. So just in case you don't remember what happened yesterday, the MLB became a team that had a lot, or an organization that had a lot of scrutiny against it. I don't know what that is. So they had 14 players on the Miami Marlins that tested positive within 72 hours of the season beginning. And then it obviously halted games for Monday because the teams were supposed to play other teams and they didn't want those teams to get it. And then the team that they had played, which was the Phillies, they had to not be able to play the team they were going to play because they didn't know if those people had contracted it. So they had to suspend those games. It was like this whole thing about like, okay, now do we need to sit back and like rethink everything? Especially people started thinking that about the NFL because they're like, okay, baseball is not really a very contacty kind of sport. And they're the only league right now that's trying to do this without a bubble. So should the NFL really do a bubble? Well, in theory, yeah, probably they should, because considering the NBA just had their players come back and test 0 players test positive for COVID, the bubble seems to be working, right? But the NFL just can't do it, unfortunately. So you guys know I like numbers. I kind of went and saw like what would it look like if the NFL did try to do some type of bubble. So the NFL stated that right now they would need 150 players and staff members in order to conduct a practice for training camp. So they need 150 people. Obviously, once training camp's over and they make those cuts, that number could go down to 100 on average. So you take all 32 teams, that is almost 5,000 people that would need to be placed inside of whatever kind of bubble they do. I kind of started thinking about, okay, what if we split the, conferences, just do NFC and AFC, or maybe we do NFC and AFC West and NFC and AFC South and something like that. So then it would be 4 pods, which is kind of what the Olympics does. The Olympics has their groups set up in pods on their little camps or whatever for the Olympics. So I was like, maybe they do that. But that's still 1,000 per pod. And to put that into perspective, the NBA has a maximum of 37 people that they can allow go with them. That includes players, any personnel or whatever they want that are able to go with them to the bubble. 37. 22 teams, that is over 800 people. You guys know how much the bubble costs. Everyone's talking about the $1 billion bubble. So it was like $1 billion to get a little over 800 people into a space, and that is a pretty big space. In Disney World is still a big space, but they're very limited, and that's 800. So that's not even what one pod in the NFL would look like. So you want to talk money with that? Like, NFL does not only have to create these potential 4 pods with 1,000 people per pod, they are also going to, they can't do lineups of the courts like you guys see in the NBA. Like, I don't know if you, I'm sure everybody's seen the videos and pictures where it's like all their practice courts are kind of lined up, and then they have in smaller buildings, they have, you know, their courts where they're going to be playing at. The NFL would need to do NFL quality fields for these players to practice on, and then another field and other fields for them to actually train on and actually actually play on. I mean, so they're going to have several practice fields, and then also the fields that they play on, which is 100 yards, well, technically 110 yards of field in this space that we want to do in 4 pods across this country. It just doesn't make sense to do that, and that is going to be $1 billion for the NBA thing, and they didn't have to build anything outside of a structure like an actual stadium or whatever the case. For the NFL, this is going to be at least $6 to $10 billion in order to make some kind of bubble situation for NFL players. It can't work. It just can't work for the NFL. So unfortunately, things got way worse, because not only did the NFL start getting some, backlash by not doing this bubble thing after the MLB players test positive, but unfortunately on Monday, it got way worse, because the Vikings head athletic trainer, Eric Sugarman, announced he had contracted COVID and was in quarantine. Now, what makes this person so different from anybody else that's been contracting COVID? Well, he's actually the Vikings infection control officer and is responsible for making sure all the protocols are in place and everything is in place in order for the players and the coaches and staff members to not get COVID. He must not know that much if he was able to get it himself. So maybe he shouldn't be in charge of being the infection control officer for the league if he's getting COVID himself. Like that's not a good sign for the NFL at all, that the infection control officer for the Vikings just tested positive for COVID, and he's already been dealing with the rookies, and all of the players are starting to join or get to the facilities because they're about to start training camp. And this guy literally just did a video on YouTube, and he went through the whole facility and was speaking and touching on everything. Like, this is what we decided to do here, and this is whatever. So now they have to really deep clean that whole entire area again, because he was touching and rubbing on everything in the YouTube video about like what he's done so great to make sure that the Vikings players and staff members are safe. So this has now brought some more players to be like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do here? Like, this isn't going to work out for us. So NFL players have decided to opt out. We had a Dallas Cowboys player, which isn't like a great player, whatever, anyway, decide to opt out. People thought Tank Lawrence was going to opt out, which is one of our best defenders on the Cowboys team, but thank goodness. It was announced right before the show that he is actually reporting to training camp, so he's not opting out. But the Patriots do not have the same thing. They had 6 players decide to opt out, and not 6 just run-of-the-mill kind of players. Donta Hightower decided to opt out this season. Patrick Chung decided to opt out, and also their starting right tackle, Marcus Cannon, decided to opt out. Brandon Bolden, who's a running back for the team, decided to opt out too. Like, they have a ton of players that do not want to play, and some people are saying that this is probably like something that Bill Belichick's like secretly like, yes, let's do really bad this season, because it's going to be in a situation where, next year, because we know how NFL works, the worse you do, the higher up you are on the draft chart for next season. So maybe he's trying to wash out this year and maybe do something a little bit for next season. But I'm not going to get into it too much here. You guys can look at my other stuff where I'm going to talk more in depth about it. But that puts a guy named Cam Newton in a very uncomfortable position now if the Patriots are just going to forego this season and kind of forget about it. I don't have anything else to add to this topic. I am very interested to see how it works out. Obviously, NFL players don't have their guaranteed contracts. NFL teams are not offering to pay the salaries of players that decide to opt out. We know Hightower opted out because he actually had a baby 2 weeks ago, so he decided to opt out because he didn't think it was safe for his family. Russell Wilson just had a baby too. I don't know if he's going to end up doing the same thing, but this is kind of a crazy situation because as we're starting to see the MLB kind of unfold little by little because of them not being in a bubble, we're starting to see more NFL players decide that maybe this isn't the best bet for them. We know about players like Von Miller, who obviously had COVID already, but that doesn't mean he can't get it again. He has asthma. There's a bunch of big line guys, that aren't really in the best of shape, but this could be really detrimental for the season moving forward. And you're going to, I guess it's good because it gives others opportunities to get in there. And I'm always big on never let a freshman take your spot. And maybe some older guys like Patrick Chung might be losing their spot coming soon. But I don't know. I don't really have any particular question. I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to add to this. Chris, Jackie, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the league is kind of doomed here because they can't do a bubble? It's going to cost too much money for them to even try to do a bubble, and we're seeing players now start to opt out, especially with that Patriots squad.
So I don't know if this coincides with anything, but you guys know I have season tickets in Denver, and they've been asking me for those thousands of dollars, and I've been like, no, because I don't know, if we can even get anyone to the stadium. And I got an email this morning shortly after I saw all these other players, because we saw there were 6 players that opted out yesterday, but none of them were like you said, Britt. None of them were like, oh God, it's detrimental to our team. And then this morning, now we're seeing, and then I got an email this morning that said, hey, for everyone who's paid us, your money's going to be rolled over into the 2021 season. So they're not giving that money back. And for those of you who haven't paid us, you don't have to pay us until next season. And I was like, see, this, you know what I mean? So somewhere, there's a conversation that's like, maybe this is not going to happen. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, that email did not come until this morning, which I found a little bit ironic. Like, okay, this timing is suspect, but I mean, great. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't pay it, but I just wondered if there's somebody, because it does become a thing where if the guy that was supposed to keep you safe has it.
Yeah, when I heard that one, I was
like, I don't know what to do here.
That's like Dr. Fauci getting it, and then we're like, wait, but you told us all to do all this stuff, and we did what you said. Right. Were you not doing that too? Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, so I get it, and at some point the safety of the players is going to be it's going to be the responsibility of the players. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I've been saying that I don't know, like football players in general, if you're willing to go out there and risk CTE, I feel like they'll risk COVID, but obviously that's not the case. Obviously there's a line. So
yeah. Well, and then I think with the CTE versus the COVID for the players, CTE, they feel like even though you actually put what goes on with you end up treating your family members bad, or you do all this kind of stuff and you're hard to deal with once you have CTE, but they feel like, well, I'm the only one that has to really suffer for them, is kind of what goes on in their head, even though obviously your family does suffer from how you are or become mentally or whatever. But with COVID, I think it's the whole thing of like, I could pass this on to my wife. She's pregnant, my baby, this, that, and the third. And because it's just so like, it could be airborne or it could be whatever the case is, that people are really starting to like, okay, maybe this is not worth it because it's not just going to affect me. Like I could go on a field and die tomorrow, and I died for football and I love that, but like they also don't want to kill their family. Because football players are crazy enough to play football, but they don't want to hurt anybody else.
Absolutely.
Chris, what are your thoughts?
I'm just having a hard time with the bubble idea, and you hit it perfectly, because there's just it's not the same thing. Even if you do find out a way to accommodate all the people that you have to accommodate, there's so many other pieces to it. There's so many other pieces to it. And then now we're here finding out a dude from the Vikings who was supposed to be in control of everything going on. There's just too many pieces and too many factors to it that it's all really scary. And I've stopped allowing myself to be, and this is going to sound so pessimistic, and that's not me, but I've stopped allowing myself to be so excited about this coming season because I honestly don't know if there's going to be just a week one and then that's it, or if there's even going to be that week one, and because there's just so many things that they have to figure out. I mean, from where the teams practice, are they all going to practice the same place? Like all kinds of crazy things that they would have to do, even if you do select bubbles in select cities and they only play certain teams, which you have mentioned so many times, like, divisions play themselves the entire season or whatever they would have to do. It's just too many. It's just too many variables, and it's just so hard for them to figure out so many things that they have to think about. But just hearing that dude from the Vikings, like I have so many questions. How when you're supposed to be the guy, where the teams will be listening to you, what did he do that got that where it got to him? It's just I have so many questions for that guy.
Yeah. Do you think we're in a place where it would be more beneficial for the NFL, and we're talking about like a business and the NFL to be in what they normally have been before, reactive instead of proactive? Would you rather them just cancel the season now or then try to be reactive later if something does happen? Like, do you think that would benefit the league more or less to do one or the other?
Yeah, because either way, it's going to be expensive. So it almost makes more sense to just cut your losses and just, cut it now rather than later. But either way, it's going to be expensive. So I could see them taking the bullet and just being like, all right, let's just run it. If it gets too crazy, then we'll cut it out. And at least we can get some revenue from playing some games. But even then, they're not having people in the stands. So like I said, there's just so many factors to it. So personally, I don't want to say it and I don't get hate, but like I feel like it would make the most sense to cut it before it even starts because just for the safety of the players and the safety of your league, so you can have a 2021 season, you know what I'm saying? So even if that means that they have to pull an NBA and like completely, I don't even want to say that, but if they would have to like change up the schedule where it will start sooner, if, something changes or whatever plan has to come, maybe, but to me, it makes more sense to cut it before you even start it, but instead of putting so many people's lives in danger, because it's hard to, gauge with this sport.
Well, that's it for Britt's take. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Britt. You guys, as a reminder, we have extra content coming for you all week because we're just so excited about the NBA restart. Don't forget that at 2 p.m. on Thursday, Chris and Jackie are going to be going live. That's 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you tune into that. Check back with our channel to see all of the extra stuff that we have coming your way. It's been a while since we've actually had some like good basketball news to talk about, good sports news to talk about. So we're all extremely thrilled. We're just really relieved. We also have Best of the Bubble that's coming out on Thursday morning. Is that correct? Yeah?
I think
Friday morning.
Friday morning. Okay. That's coming out on Friday morning, so make sure you check that out. You guys keeping track of all the new stuff. I'm sorry, I forgot about it. But don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we're going to wrap up our show today, you guys. Wash your hands, wear a mask, be a good person. Let's do our little sign off, our little handshake. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Mikey's guy, wash your hands, my
guy. Man.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he wasn't washing his hands.